education. We hope that the discussion we'll have today will be both engaging, interesting, and, well, for many of you, familiar faces, friendly faces, maybe there will be things that you already know or you rediscover. Today, for the colleagues who are new to this, even more, we hope it will be inspiring. I am Alex. I'm the head of the CIVIS Education Unit based in the University of Bucharest, and I'm really happy to be both your host today and the moderator of this wonderful discussion and this amazing group of people. Before we start, of course, I'll present them as they will be intervening in the discussion. But before that, I just want to bring a bit of context of our discussion, which is about the CIVIS educational portfolio. And to discover it together. In CIVIS education is built on a couple of pillars that range from competitiveness to Green Deal to, of course, the idea of building a true European educational community across our, well, 17 universities, 11 European universities and 6 African universities. Building educational offer from the idea of a transformative framework that allows educational developments from small learning units, courses, summer schools, BEEPs, to more developed ones such as micro-credentials, micro-programs, modules, and of course, degree programs of different sorts. And this is why even our discussion today brings together 3 types of developments on education, and we will explore them together. But of course, we also look at empowering the skills for Europe's future, where we indeed talk about digital and green skills, civic and entrepreneurial approaches, and employability and mobility, ranging, as I said, to the idea of the European intercampus, policy leadership, and of course, transforming higher education as a whole. And this is built on what we call the CIVIS educational framework, which is developed on 3 levels. The first one on single learning activities, which are the building blocks of our education in CIVIS, and which we use in a way to design all the developments of education. That can then be further developed into the multi-structured learning activities, and most of you are a lot familiar with the BEEPs, for example, and we'll also talk about one such experience today. But also the modular offer built on micro-credentials and micro-programs of different levels. And of course, that leads to the degree programs, and we have 2 such programs today in our discussions at bachelor, master, and doctoral level, all, of course, with the vision to build towards the European degree in different formats. When we talk about the portfolio as such, we talk about quite a number of things, and this is something which in CIVIS is both engaging but provocative at the same time, because we're doing many things at the same time. So we do have 2 bachelor degrees in different levels of development, 11 master degree programs, out of which 3 are already up and running, 8 doctoral programs or networks, 12 micro-credentials, 3 micro-programs, 2 modules, 2 MOOCs, 2 COILs, and of course, the, well, CIVIS identity of around 55 to 70 BEEPs per academic year. So if you count it, it leads to, well, it leads to 42 standalone educational projects without counting the annual BEEP implementation that over the past 4 years led us to more than 250 BEEPs developed in CIVIS. And our 3 projects today are TRACEE, Transdisciplinary Studies of Climate, Environment and Energy, a master degree program already up and running, a transdisciplinary master program, but I'll not speak too much about it, the colleagues will do that. The second project is NAT4DD, a master program on drug development, which is almost up and running, and this is why it's very interesting to look at them from different angles. And POLYCIVIS, which is, well, you will find it's a compilation of many things, but for our discussion today, it's developing from BEEPs, but it has a lot of potential for future developments into other educational projects, and also the dimension of European and African cooperation. So together, the three activities today show that in CIVIS, educational development can have many shapes, can have many directions, and can evolve in different ways, because they have different stories, they have different journeys, and this is very important to show. Without further ado, this is the list of our speakers, the representatives of the programs. From TRACEE, we have Sara Laginder, which is the Deputy Institutional Coordinator for CIVIS at Stockholm University and a member of the TRACEE team. We have Alasdair SKELTON, which is a professor at Stockholm University and one of the leading voices of TRACEE and the living mind of TRACEE. Then for NAT4DD, we have Professor Lavinia Ruță from the University of Bucharest and Professor Daniela De Vita from Sapienza University. And for POLYCIVIS team, we have Gudrun Zager, professor from Salzburg University, and Roman Paf from Salzburg University, both representing, of course, POLYCIVIS today. We also have our CIVIS students, but I'll not introduce you yet, as you will have a bit of a later introduction. And of course, as you may have seen also on the website, we have also an external guest, Professor Anne Lecuy, which is our kind guest today, and she will also have an external voice intervention at a point in the session. Without prolonging too much the introduction, I'm warmly inviting Alasdair and Sara to present you the journey of TRACEE.
Thank you very much. Alex, thank you for putting this session together. And thanks all for being here, and especially to the whole room full of TRACEE students. Really nice to see you all. I've been asked, together with Sara, to say a few words about TRACEE, and beginning with where the whole thing started. And TRACEE was an idea that was generated within one of CIVIS's 5 academic hubs. And that hub is Climate, Environment and Energy, which is a family of academics and administrators who've been working together now for over 6 years. The fun thing about TRACEE is it began with a sketch on a train. It was on the train from between Brussels and Hamburg, and after a really inspiring get-together with the hub, where we had the chance to think freely. We were allowed to reinvent teaching. What would be good? Because we're in a very different world today than when I studied. Our students, our TRACEE students, are taking on the challenges of the Anthropocene, whether they want to or not. And our job as educators is to ready for them for that. And the challenge is so much bigger than anything any of us older people have faced. And TRACEE is our best attempt to create an education pathway that gives students the skills they need to move forward in a very uncertain time. So how CIVIS made TRACEE a reality. CIVIS is an amazing thing. From its birth, which it was born just before the start of the pandemic. And the pandemic actually made it a success because we learned to communicate online. And because of that, we've met many, many more times. When starting being part of CIVIS, I felt really nervous because I'm a climate activist, and the last thing I'm going to do is fly all over the place. I thought I can't really be a part of this. But the pandemic kicked in and the whole thing was online, and it meant the hub has met 47 times. A few of our physical meetings where the whole thing really kicked off, we gathered all the academics together on the Swedish island of Utta, which means the outer isle. And there we didn't create a BIP because we hadn't even talked about BIPs yet. We created a MOOC. And the purpose of that was just to create a family. So we all knew and liked each other. So we were ready to work together. And we have worked together over the years and spent a few wonderful meetings. Here's the hub standing on Sicker Point, which is the place where geological time was discovered. And just think what geological time is, 4.6 billion years. Someone worked it out. And they worked it out on an outcrop in Scotland. And TRACEE moved, we were free as academics just to brainstorm and create what we thought was good. Never once did we ask ourselves, is this possible? Can this be achievable? Can 11 universities in Europe and 2 in Africa put together a program? Is a consortium agreement a possibility? None of us as the academics had the vaguest idea what consortium agreement was. And then we had, and at that point, we're meeting in Rome when we presented this idea to, among others, Joachim, and Sarah was already involved. And so we've got this really interesting idea. What do you think? What can we do with it? And then I hand over.
Yes. So I mean, how did this whole thing become a reality? As Alasdair was already saying, I mean, there was a clear academic vision that could actually be conveyed to all our institutions, like, because we are 11 full partners in this program, and you need to, like, ensure, like, resource allocation. So having a clear academic vision helped us to convey this message, why this program was really needed and important for our institutions. And it also kept us all very motivated, and, like, on the busiest days, like, the academic vision of the program kept me going, at least. And I think that I speak for the rest of the team as well that worked with this, and Gudrun was also part of the TRACEE team, actually. So very early on, we understood that this is really a big thing, or I did at least. I mean, even the things that the academics had not understood, I as an administrator understood that we do need institutional support here, and this is like taking on a major task, like running such a like big consortia. So we do need institutional commitment. So we did send out a so-called letter of commitment that all partners signed in 2023, and this was signed by our rectors at each institution, and they ensured that they would allocate sufficient resources to make this program a reality. And we made like kind of a rough estimate what resources would be needed. We didn't state the percentage, and of course we underestimated how much resources we actually needed, but at least the rectors had signed something. So we could hold them accountable. Now, I don't know if I'm, no, well, the back one. Okay. And so, as you understand, I mean, the road, it was not always straightforward, and it was quite bumpy, and we were kind of building the road when we were on it, and we were changing some vehicles away along the way. And so the main challenges, of course, we were multitasking all the time. We were constantly working on parallel processes. Like, while the academics were developing a completely new semester of 30 ECTS and a transdisciplinary semester collaborating over disciplines, I mean, a lot of the admin staff members, we were busy writing the consortium agreement, also like drafting an Erasmus Mundus application to get external funding for the program, and also taking on the accreditation of the European approach, so also working on that. So there was a lot of things going on, and meanwhile we were also like building the curricula and the whole program as such. So it was a lot of multitasking and challenging because we didn't have enough time and resources, but somehow at least we made it work anyway. And we were all focusing on getting the program like ready for launch in the autumn of 2025. So this was our ultimate goal. And of course, like along the way, we encountered a lot of legal and regulatory obstacles. And this could be a session on its own, so I'm not going to go into any nitty-gritty details, but if you want, of course, you can also connect with me afterwards if you want details about all the obstacles that we encountered along the way. And we also found something that is very important, is that external funding is really needed. I mean, you need funding for the European approach accreditation, for the physical meetings, that is really needed to build trust among the community. And so I like to see it that we are, like, even though we have launched the program, we are by far done with everything, so we are still working on doing things and improving things in the program. So I like to see it as we are on a constant move. So I don't know if we will ever be done, but at least it's a little bit more complete now than it was like back in 2023 or something like that. So I hand back to Alasdair.
And those lovely posters you're looking at are Sarah and Alex and a team of others created those, and they're both prize-winning posters. So I've just to wrap up with what lessons we learned. I mean, the best thing we learned is TRACEE is about the students. They're an absolutely brilliant bunch. and turn this whole thing into a reality. TRACEE happened because through its hubs, CIVIS made it possible for a small community of academics to rethink education. The result was pedagogically visionary, but it was also administratively impossible, except that, as Sarah has said, it wasn't. The administrators making TRACEE happen found pragmatic solutions, and making decisions one step at a time was what I observed as an academic not involved in decision making, and was so impressed. Bite-sized decisions, and that brought the consortium agreement to flourish. It was a key point is that academics and administrators worked together throughout the entire process after the initial mad idea, and it really worked. TRACEE is our story, and all of CIVIS, and I mean, Alex sitting here from the education unit knows how much effort he's put into it, and all of the different units and all parts of the organization have made this a reality. I would ask everyone who's been a part of creating TRACEE, and moreover, those of you who actually are TRACEE, feel a sense of pride. And let's not leave anyone behind as we move forward with TRACEE into many, many happy years. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sarah and Alasdair. It's really interesting the way you put it. I mean, how mad the idea was initially. I mean, we from the administrative side, when we heard what you want, we were looking at each other and we were questioning, so you want 11 universities and you want to speak for students with any background and you want it to be transdisciplinary. Oh, a piece of cake. But, well, we are here. We have TRACEE, and it is indeed a turning point in how we can look at international education. And I'm sure that the almost up and running program that we are moving to will also be a really nice story we can look at and a nice journey attached. So I'm inviting Professor Daniela De Vita and Professor Lavinia Ruzza to take the story onward.
Okay. Good morning to everyone. In this part of the presentation, we would like to show you how and why NAT4DD was born. Oops. Okay. As we know, today there are many programs based on drug discovery, but most of them are focused on synthetic compounds. So our idea was to put natural compounds, natural products at the center of drug discovery education. So to do that, we can do quite easily because nature sometimes is more creative than we are in our lab. So we can use innovative molecules coming from plants or other natural sources. So with this idea, Sapienza University of Rome, the University of Bucharest, and the University of Athens put together their skills and their expertise in this field. So this was the starting point of NAT4DD from an academic point of view. I think he's missing something, but no problem, because the first step, our first step, were possible because there were already trust between the partners and also a common scientific interest. So, of course, we didn't immediately create a joint master program, but we start with some kind of activities, some small activities such as workshops, summer school, BIPs, and this kind of activity taken together were our testing ground. So thanks to this activity, we were able to better understand we can teach together and how students react to an international approach. So in this slide, you can see just a few pictures from the past events that we organize, so workshop, BIPs. This kind of activity, I have to say, were not only teaching events, because allowed us to reinforce the collaboration between teachers coming from different university, different culture. So, as you can imagine, building a joint master is not only an academic idea, because we need some institutional phases, and we start our implementation of the program after we receive some financial support. We obviously receive funding by CIVIS, but also we receive an external funding by the Greek ministry that give us quite a lot of money because it recognized the value of our program in the higher education initiative, in the framework of the higher education initiatives. So, thanks to this financial support, we were able to meet in a regular way to start to solve a lot of practical issues, to align the program, and to move to the consortium agreement. So now I leave the floor to my colleague, Dr. Lavinia Ruta.
Thank you. So at this point, I want to highlight the challenges that are not often so visible from outside. It's okay. Aligning different educational system is a major difficulty because every university has its own structure. So putting all this together to build a educational program structure is very difficult. You have to align every courses and so on. And a second problem is that different accreditation frameworks make the process even more complex. So in this point, we find that educational innovation in education is more complex than aligning academic design curriculum that we first thought that it is possible. So second, continuous coordination is essential. And this show us reflects CIVIS added value because CIVIS provide bottom-up initiatives, supports bottom-up initiatives, and also provide the frameworks for sustainable collaboration. And I want to also to focus on challenges related to co-creation and program development. And for this, designing a shared curriculum is a truly collaborative process because partners must align courses, learning outcomes, and teaching approaches. At the same time, integrating diverse academic perspectives ensure enhance the program, but in the same time requires very careful harmonization for coherence pathway. And about long-term commitment, we need long-term commitment because moving from pilot activities like summer schools, workshops, and BIPs to a structured program takes time, trust, and institutional support. And finally, integration of structural administrative and organizational constraints show us that successful projects in education are depends on a broader ecosystem, more beyond the academic collaboration alone. So here I want to show you that CIVIS is a platform for building educational value to partnership because our master program, Net4DD, connects European universities with 5 African partners, partners institutions, highlighting the global dimension of the program. It is more than a network. It is a co-created educational ecosystem where partners must contribute to courses, design curriculum, mobilities, and joint teaching. And very important, Net4DD has a clear trajectory from pilot activities like BIPs and workshops to a structured program, and this was possible because CIVIS help us, supporting us toward this transition to learning pathways sustainable. So few key lessons to conclude from our master program. Building joint education is more complex than research collaboration because must align requires alignment at multiple levels: academic, administrative, and institutional. Small activities, small initiatives can grow in full program, but this requires a lot of activities and a lot of support. And I think the most important thing, trust. We need trust and continuity. These are essential for sustainability and success. And overall, I have to say that CIVIS plays a key role as an enabler of innovation in higher education, supporting co-creation, mobility, and new learning pathways. So looking ahead, Net4DD, our master program, aims to strengthen further this program and try to contribute to the broader vision of European vision on higher education and joint learning, and try to promote interdisciplinary training in drug discovery. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Indeed, it's very interesting to look at this building blocks, as I was telling you about the educational framework, and how several initiatives actually need this space and time to grow. And not, well, we can start with very big ideas, as we have seen in TRACEE, and jump right into it, or we can go the other way around and start from small corporations and try to build first the team, because at the end of the day, we also need to build this community that makes those wonderful things possible. But we'll dive more into that also in our discussion part. But we'll move forward to Gudrun and Roman. To our next...
the wrong direction, okay.
To our next wonderful project, POLYCIVIS.
Thank you, Alexandru. Very first and very quick, okay, I see, did it too complicated. The journey begins. What is POLYCIVIS about? Alexandru mentioned it in his introduction that it is a little bit different and that it is not only about education, and I just briefly introduce, before I hand over to my colleague Gudrun, how it started. In December 2022, it was rather in the midst of December than at its beginning, the Commission issued a call for a Jean Monnet policy network on external policy, EU-Africa. Well, perhaps more a strategic thing than anything else. But nevertheless, it was, of course, it was a once-in-a-lifetime chance for CIVIS with its with the structure of its consortium. And we, a group of universities here in CIVIS, decided to run for an application. That had to be finished by February 2023, roughly 2 months later, with a Christmas break in between. So we had a very funny Christmas, you might imagine, but it worked. And in the end, by February 14, 2023, all CIVIS universities, all 17, the 11 Europeans and the 6 Africans, plus 3 associated partners in Burkina Faso, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Kenya, submitted such an application that was good enough to be funded. And in October 2023, we actually started. That was super, super quick. I did that sometimes in my life, and I never had an experience like that. There was also a very, very important role of our colleagues from the Université Libre de Bruxelles ages ago, but I want to thank them again for them. And in October 2023, our project POLYCIVIS, Confronting the Polycrisis in Europe, Africa, and Africa through Research, Policy, and Education, you notice education comes only in third, started. And now, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Roman. So what was CIVIS' contribution? The consortium POLYCIVIS wouldn't exist without CIVIS. Why that? Because CIVIS provided us with the network. We basically had our partners at the fingertips, which we never would have had if we were all alone. But let me start first with what we have heard before, administration. Yeah, it was extremely helpful, and for us academics, we do not even imagine all the things we have to think of when we organize something. Yeah, and we couldn't have done it without the help of all the different CIVIS units, with all the help of our units at our own universities, where you call this and this person, and then they know what to do and whom to ask. Because for us, it's additionally complicated because people change very often. Yeah, so you always have different people, you always have different forms to fill in, and so on. So that's one thing. Second, we have this eye-level cooperation. We have 5 work packages in POLYCIVIS, all of them with an African and a European leaders. So we should sit here with Kamatara and Anthony from Makerere. Unfortunately, they cannot be with us today, and this is one of the issues we always, it's the funding with the African partners is always a challenge. But it was very helpful and eye level, so from the academic point of view, there is no difference where the universities are. The CIVIS support was also instrumental to organizing the BIPs. And organizing BIPs with African partners is a huge challenge from an administrative point of view only. Yeah, we are not talking about teaching. To the contrary, it's extremely enriching to have the different approaches and merge the different approaches. And especially in the context of polycrisis, we can learn a lot from our African colleagues who have been in a state of polycrisis for decades. Yeah. So we still managed, despite all the challenges, to organize 4 BIPs. And one of them even taking place in Kampala, Makerere University. And can you move on? Then we, yeah. Okay, so what did we do regarding teaching? What did work package 4 do? The first thing is that we organized a teaching survey. So we sent out a survey on what kind of courses do you offer at your respective institutions regarding to polycrisis. It was quite amazing that not all institutions were equally responsive. And especially the European institutions were much more reluctant. We received answers from all our African partners and were really amazed how many specific programs they offer in this regard. And this is also, the survey is the basis for working on our Erasmus Mundus project Roman will talk about in a minute. We put together 4 different BIPs. One was on EU-African trade and investment relations and the polycrisis, and we have a student here who will tell you a bit more about the experience. And then we have 3 other BIPs. One was on understanding polycrisis, organized by Athens. The second one on polycrisis foresight, organized by Brussels. And the third one on tackling polycrisis, organized by Makerere University. All of them have been extended. Yeah, and I hand over to Roman now to continue with the master's program.
Well, and then we tried to do that, or we are right now in the process of trying to do what you call make the impossible possible. Sarah, that was very good, and I will keep that in mind for the next few months. We started to tackle, well, somehow the crown, applying for an Erasmus joint master under, well, managing under the working title, Managing the Polycrisis. And we did so. This is not done by all CIVIS universities. You said that 11 was quite a lot. We are 7, and I think they are quite a lot. Well, and it is innovative in a way that if it flies, we will submit it by February, but if it flies, it will be the first joint master program ever coordinated by an African university, because our coordinator will be the Universiteit van Witwatersrand near Johannesburg in South Africa. We are right now in a group of 7 universities led by WITS. It is Makerere in Kampala, Athens, plus here we in Salzburg, Sfax, the Université Ascendeu in Casablanca, the Université Libre in Brussels, and WITS. Those 7 universities are right now in a, say, micro-consortium to submit this. I cannot tell you more right now. We will see next February whether it will come to fruition or not.
So what were the unexpected challenges in this cooperation? One thing is language, yeah? English and French. Yeah, and this is especially in the African context. We had this experience. We had an extremely engaged group. We had a negotiation game going on in Brussels, and many of the Africans hardly talked. Yeah. Until we went to the African Union representation in Brussels, and they did their presentations in French. Suddenly, all the African participants started, so the French-speaking African participants started answering questions or asking questions, discussing, and it was amazing. So we thought this may be an African issue which needs to be overcome to enhance cooperation on the African continent as a whole, until we were last week in Aix-en-Provence for our POLYCIVIS final conference. And then we had sessions where the French-speaking professors, who are perfectly capable of speaking English, we had a whole morning only French presentations and questions. Yeah? So apparently we have the same issue in Europe and within CIVIS probably as well. So this is one thing, and we thought of many ways to overcome this. Yeah, so the problem is that basically everybody speaks English, but many never heard French before. So it's really a challenge how to think about that. The other big challenge was financing when it comes to African participants. For instance, the BIP organized in Makerere, usually we get some support to organize the BIP. To transfer that money to Makerere was basically impossible, and again, thank you so much to the administration. Somehow, they always find a way to transfer some money. And the other challenge is the intra-African cooperation. Yeah, so it's okay to fly everybody to Makerere from Europe, but if you want to fly somebody from Dakar in Senegal to Makerere, there is no way to support this from the European side. And this is really a challenge when it comes to this kind of cooperation.
So we come to an end now. CIVIS is a university alliance, and well, what can we learn from teaching in the framework of an alliance? It is, and I think that came through also from what Gudrun has told us on the role of CIVIS. It is, as a first thing to say, it is very, very helpful. It is helpful in terms of methodology, of concepts, of experiences that can be drawn upon. You simply have, the world is wide, the world is great, and in CIVIS, you see it, you have the experience, you have the contacts and everything. And that is super, super helpful. And I also take the opportunity to thank everybody here in the room coming from one of the other CIVIS universities for providing this. This is really a very, very great experience, and it made us happy, and I think it made us quite successful. The other thing is this added value for teachers, I think, is also true for the students. I won't say much about it. Francisque will do in a few minutes. But at least my impression as a teacher, as a participant in the project, is that obviously also for the students, it offers a considerable added value. Nevertheless, there is a long way to go to really optimize it. And we mentioned all of them, and I reiterate them here only with 3 words, that are incompatible bureaucratic cultures across the networks, which make things, well, at least sometimes unnecessarily cumbersome. Then this knowledge of language or not knowledge of language, or the not willingness to speak foreign languages. The French policy of francophonie is really a hindrance in that way, although it is high politics. But nevertheless, it isn't a good idea. And then, finally, it is money. Money, well, for everything we do, but particularly for integrating the Africans really on an eye-to-eye level into our work, because it is difficult, because they have so much less money than we have if we want to do something. And if we really want to cooperate with Africa in a deep way, money is and remains an important issue. So thank you for your attention, and I hand over to dramaturgy. I hand over to nobody, to Alexandra.
Not for now, for me. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Indeed, the world is wide and definitely interesting, especially for education. And this is something that we truly value in CIVIS. Whether indeed it's challenging to explore all the cultures, the different languages, the different ways of seeing how education is regarded. And this is why we also move to a different lens of the discussion, well, a student lens to our discussion. And I'm really happy to have together with us 2 of our wonderful students, Clara Baumgarten, which is one of the TRACEE's first students, the first generation of TRACEE student with a background in humanities, and Francisque Duncan, which is a student in cultural and historical linguistics and translation, and he was a former student in the POLYCIVIS BIP. And we would really love to hear the way you see your experience and how would you relate to that. I'll start where the microphone is for easy operation. Or with Clara, would you be so kind to be the first one to share your experience? Thank you.
Thank you so much. So when I think of TRACEE, I think there are three maybe main aspects that really shape the experiences of being a TRACEE student, and these are the international character of the program, then of course the interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary learning experience, and the social aspect of being in the community. And these three I want to talk about a little bit now. So TRACEE is not only a program that is like within so many countries, 11 universities. It's also, we students are quite international. We are from, I don't remember how many countries, but 4 continents, 9, 9 countries. And this, of course, creates this space where you really get to know and get to talk to people who are from different places and have different experiences, which is very, very enriching. And for example, I mean, climate crisis is global, but it's also very different in different areas. So it's super important and super good to have the different really experiences, what are the challenges and what are the opportunities of the different places. And I mean, we had the lovely discussions about food culture over lunch dinner and about global inequality and everything in between. So this is something I think is very, very good. There is one downside.
So technology is one of the downsides of it.
Yeah, probably. So one downside is you get people like friends, really close friends from all over the world, but they will go back to all over the world. So I'm really not looking forward to this program ending, because then I will have my friends very far away, some of them, and this is really a scary thing to me. And yeah. So the second thing, interdisciplinary learning. I asked my friends about what is it for you, and they came up with words like it's fun, challenging, eye-opening, and transformative. So we feel the need for learning interdisciplinary because you like see the limitations of your own field of studies, and also see where there are maybe spaces of cooperation, and like where your own field ends, another field maybe has a good answer or perspective. And this is also very exciting to us, especially in the first semester when we are all together in the same place, having the different courses about natural science, social science, humanities, and that really laid a good base for the ongoing studying now when we're on our more study tracks that are specialized in our fields. And I think the most important part to me is the aspect of friendship and community within the program. I was expecting to meet new friends, of course, because when you study, you always meet people and you always make friends. But I wasn't expecting this loving and caring group of people. And it's not only very important for my personal life, it's also super important for my professional life, and I think for all of us, because we are really talking about super serious situations and problems in the world, and without community and the support of being together in this situation, talking about climate crisis, biodiversity loss, inequality, and this is like for the emotional and mental well-being and health, the community and friendship and care we have within the group is crucial. And I think this is also something I want to really emphasize for all the people who are working with education, the teachers, like make community and friendship within the group, but also between group and like students and teachers, make it a priority. Because I think often we think that the most important stuff is the studying, but I think like first community and friendship and trust and social, like the feel of a safe space comes first, and then everything else will be possible. So yeah, I'm so thankful and happy for being on that program, and very excited for it to be continued with the second cohort, and I think this is very exciting and nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Clara. Really nice words, and it's nice, I mean, from an educational scientist perspective, it's nice to see how studies of how important personal relations, community building is for learning, even more sometimes than the teaching component, which is paradoxical, but it's nice to always hear this reconfirming what we are learning from research, and this is wonderful. Thank you very much, Clara. Francisc, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Now, while a BIP that happened summer last year is not as deep as a full-on joint master's program with people from 9 countries and 4 continents, as Clara said. It still is, in my opinion, a unique experience that maybe most students in the CIVIS network should experience at least once in their student years, either in bachelor studies or in master studies, even in doctoral studies, I believe, there's BIPs. And this BIP, the Euro-African trade relations and the polycrisis that I was part of, now continued in the enhancing skills in polycrisis management BIP in Uganda, which hopefully will be able to travel to Makerere soon enough because of the Ebola situation. I consider this BIP, the one in Brussels at least, to be a very special program, and one that's perhaps unheard of, or before that it's truly unheard of. And I remember being in my first year of studies, first month actually, seeing the CIVIS newsletter from my university, and I saw the BIP. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't know what CIVIS was, to be honest. But I saw that it would have a virtual component, a physical component. I would get some money to go to Brussels, so I thought it'd be maybe a nice little trip. And the subject of the topic was of interest to me. I don't know why, but I've always known I wanted to help people and maybe bridge the gap between Europe and Africa in my work, somehow. So I applied, I got in. I will not go in details over the virtual component because that's boring classes mostly. Sorry, Gudrun, sorry, Roman. But the real pleasure as well as challenges and stress began in the physical week. Arriving to Brussels in the first day at the ULB campus, I suddenly discovered we really were 50 different students from, I think, 12 countries, maybe 11, with all the professors, and this really was happening, and we students really had to get serious about the coursework in Brussels, as well as the negotiation game and the official visits to the African Union, to the European Commission. And soon we did run into some challenges, as explained by Gudrun and Roman. First, the language barrier. And it was indeed a very bittersweet feeling to see that on the one hand, we students who don't speak French were somehow excluded, while also the French-speaking students felt excluded as well. And this did not happen only on the language level. The majority of the French-speaking students were our colleagues from Africa. So then we really were in this situation where in breaks and in between classes and negotiation rounds, we would be practically segregated. I don't know if you remember this, but we literally were the Europeans on one side, the Africans on the one side, and very, very few mixing and matching, depending on the language context or the context of the break. And that is an issue that, in my opinion, should be tackled. And that's an issue that really, let's not say soiled, but affected the negotiations per se. And then we did realize why negotiations also take this long in the real world. Because suddenly we wouldn't be able to, we wouldn't get to an agreement, because in my language, let's say in Romanian, and in French, this one particular word has a similar meaning. Translated to English or German, then it loses its meaning. Thankfully, I do speak German and I do understand the context nuance, because I also studied translation studies and I know how it is, but most people and most diplomats around the world and negotiators, they don't do that, or they cannot sense it, and then that leads to disagreements and to the final result of our BIP, that, which was the free trade agreement not being signed, if I remember correctly, after long full.
We're not successful in
no. So in this regard, I would see perhaps a chance for improvement, because at the end of the week, I remember a student complaining that we couldn't get together because of the language barrier. And in some regards, she was right. The BIP had a requirement for at least a B2 level of English, which all participants supposedly had. But as Roman pointed out, and Gudrun, after the visit to the African Union, our African colleagues especially, they became suddenly more relaxed. Unfortunately, that was on Wednesday, if I remember correctly. So almost at the end of the week, so the negotiations weren't going to end well. On the positive side, I do believe this BIP to be a unique blend of study programs and fields of study in this transdisciplinary way that I've since searched for and hope to find again, but I couldn't anywhere. It's really, it was really a unique experience, and I was really happy that on my name card at the end of the week I got a little message, come visit Uganda. And then a few months later I saw that the BIP was up and running and applications were open, and I was overcome with joy and a feeling I'm not yet sure what to name and how to name it. So I instantly applied, and now the bittersweet feeling is back because we have had to cancel our trips. Still, am I tracking off a lot? Then, thank you for your attention, for coming here to Bucharest, and I give the word back to Mr. Curtis.
Thank you, Francis. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Thank you so much for all your sharings and for all your experience. Indeed, well, time is running along, and I'll already start by asking your patience for 5 minutes after the potential stopping of the session, because we started later, so we can compensate. I'm sure it will be for all of us an enrichment. I'd like to open a bit the floor for some discussions, and I'm jumping back to Alasdair and Sarah for TRACEE. And kindly asking, well, because we discussed a lot about many things, especially about community building and, well, student participation. Once you start a program such as this, and we've seen 4 continents, 9 countries in student composition, what have you learned? what experience brought to you in terms of mobility, inclusion, student participation? What changed in how you would have regarded those things, I don't know, 4 years ago, and how will you see them now when you have TRACEE, when you have the students, when you have thought about how do I design teaching in a way to include and to talk about different disciplinary backgrounds in a transdisciplinary approach? How do we see all of this in a recipe together, and what experience has taught you in doing it?
I think Clara answered that question already. On the first day of TRACEE, where we paddled kayaks across a lake at Stockholm University, close to Stockholm University, and I got the first chance to meet our students for the first time. It was totally apparent it's all about the community. In a way, the TRACEE idea came from a community. It was a community aspect of the hub that made it possible to create TRACEE, or to have the TRACEE idea, but when I think Clara summarized it beautifully. If you're embarking on setting one of these programs up, you are first and foremost building a community of young people who are themselves going to be teaching one another, probably a lot more than we as academics are. We're basically creating a place for learning, and that's the thing I think I've learned most in the TRACEE process.
Just also something that I would like to inform you about in the TRACEE program. There's also, as the students, they study the first semester at Stockholm University, however, it's fully co-created and co-taught by academics from all across the Alliance. But also then the students go to the study track, so they are spread all across our institutions. But to also keep the student cohort together and to keep this community together, there's also a transdisciplinary stream running through the program also to help you students to prepare for your theses. So there's also some thought into how to maintain this community in the design of the program.
Thank you so much. I'll remain to you, Gudrun and Roman, because of course we've seen, well, even though TRACEE as a program is the biggest in terms of consortium composition, well, POLYCIVIS network is bigger, even though the program will not necessarily be that big. You mentioned the micro consortium. Well, micro can be rediscussed with 7 partners. But still, in such a case of a very large corporation, and of course we also see a broader participation of our colleagues from the African University, where do you think that, well, coordination, cooperation, all those things make a difference when we want a successful joint initiative? Because you already have a history with the POLYCIVIS network. What makes a recipe for, for success in coordinating and cooperating in such a consortium?
Okay, I do not want to bore you, but I have to repeat what Alasdair said when he said the most important thing he learned about it was what you, Clara, said. It is also on that level, not only on the level of well, being a student and learning, but also on the level of teaching, and I think also on the level of administration. This community aspect, which you really, you did that in a very impressive way to outline it from a student's perspective, but in reality it is true for the other 2 levels, the level of the teachers and the level of the administrators, organizers, in the very same way. And for example, now I told you that actually we started in late 2022 with our POLYCIVIS project, if you count the submission phase into it. That is 3.5 years ago. And in these 3.5 years, it is not only that I come to Bucharest and see so many faces. I know Alexandru or Sebastian or Paola, and all the other ones, Sarah, I think I never met anyone in so many places like her. It is about becoming a community, if I may say so, becoming friends. And becoming friends means building trust. Well, knowing each other's phone numbers, not having to address somebody, dear Professor, Dr. Senator, this and that, but dear Alexandru, or whatever, and get a result, or at least get the positive attitude towards solving a problem. And this is a community, and this sort of community is extremely important. Well, I do not say whether, okay, in the long run at least, if we want to build a European society, a demos europeos, this is the sort of communities we need on all levels.
Thank you, Roman. I think there is not much to say after that. Well, POLYCIVIS will end, but I think we really have this very good group of people. Whenever we want to do something, start a new project, we know whom to call. Yeah. It's also, you mentioned that before, I mean, working online and in person. So you can do a lot online, which you have to do in the African context because traveling is complicated, and visa issues, we didn't even talk about that topic yet. But it's very helpful to know people in person. And maybe last thing, why do we do all that? And I think it's really students, communities, building this community is key. And I think this is what remains from our universities and what remains from CIVIS. You can write lots and lots of articles, which is read by a few specialist communities. But like, I mean, students are the multipliers of the fame of our institution. So I think this is really what carries on the project of CIVIS.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Really interesting insights into cooperation. And I really liked also this last idea of how students, you know, multiply the fame of the institutions. And why not? Even of the professors, all the people. I mean, we are measuring success in, well, scientometric approaches, you know, H-index, numbers of citations. But at some points, we actually need to ask ourselves, is that enough, or is the voice of the student that's the best scientometric approach to, well, multiplying fame? But that's, of course, a very philosophical discussion we don't have the time to jump into. But I'd like to move to both Professor Lavinia and Professor Daniela, because you mentioned something really interesting, and you said that, well, designing such an international educational program is harder than doing international research. And I found that really enlightening on multiple discussions of how do we, you know, define an academic profile in the university and all those things. So I would like to ask both of you, of course, what do you think remains structurally difficult in the story, even when the educational idea is strong, is innovative? You mentioned, of course, the fact that in the domain there's a lot of artificial approaches, but not that many natural ones. So the educational concept is there, it's very strong, it's very new. What remains structurally difficult? What needs to be considered?
So we have to take into consideration what you first told me in our first meeting. You need someone from administrative to take with you. And it's very important because in the first stage, I didn't realize how important it is to have some people from the administrative staff. So they help us a lot. Because the most important thing when you try to build a master program is to first to start is to have the accreditation. So they help us a lot, and I have the opportunity to thank to all the university staff that help us with this process of accreditation. So this I think it is the top of the problems to have the accreditation of the master program.
And I totally agree with Lavinia, because we add in our universities different internal pathways. So also for the side of Sapienza University, the help of the CIVIS office, were very essential. And I would like to take the opportunity to say thank to Dr. Graziella Gaglione and Melissa Viselli that fix for us a lot of problems, because when we start alone from the academic side, and we build something, and later we understand, oh, maybe we did some mistake, so we ask CIVIS office to support us to find the right way. So this is the big problem.
Thank you. This is indeed always wonderful when working with academics in international education. They always come with an already packed vision. I mean, they just designed everything except the administrative part. And then they say, well, we want to launch it in 2 months, if possible. Of course, what isn't it possible? And then indeed we have to redesign a lot of the vision without, of course, lowering the ambition, lowering the enthusiasm. So it's always, we always sound like the bad guys of the story in the administration, but we're always trying to help. Thank you so much. I would love to go to one of our dear friends of the University of Bucharest, more specifically, but now a dear guest of our event, Professor Anne Lecuy, from Magdeburg Stendhal University of Applied Science in Germany, former rector of the university for 2 mandates, former member of the EUA board, and currently a member of the German Science and Humanities Council. More specifically, and why Professor Anne Lecuy is a friend of us is she's a member of the Board of Trustees of the University of Bucharest, chaired by Professor Romita Iucu, and she's a really expert voice also in European University Alliances. So we're really happy to have you here today with us, and we invite you to express an external opinion on how those things are viewed from outside. From outside the Alliance, we may be biased, we may look things very internal, but how are things viewed from a different perspective?
Yes. Is it okay
Thank
if
you.
I just...
Yes, please.
stand?
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Very nice to be here, to be able to listen to your challenges, successes, and worries. I was especially very thankful for the way you invite us to have a look at behind the scene, because it's a good sign that your community is a safe space and that you allow yourself to speak about the difficulties in such a moment. And I would like to say thank you for your honest and very bright presentation. It's very impressive what you have done. I'm a little bit like envious. I think you're very far at the front of what is done in the countries I know, France, Germany, and I would like to address a few specific aspects and maybe some questions I have about this complex organization with a CIVIS like a fundament and very progressive and impressive activities in a more structured way. And the first thing I would like to know is about, do you have a means, a kind of a platform, a place in your CIVIS universe for these different activities to exchange about their knowledge? We had an impressive talk yesterday by Francois telling us about the protocol and the guides and the archive, the need of not reinvent the wheels in each branch of the CIVIS tree. And this could be maybe a question not to be answered now, but maybe to be analyzed in the next steps. To have a space in your organization where you can exchange this very good practice, the best practices you have, about accreditation, about mobility. But of course, you are like the memory of, the administrative part is, but I think it would be also enriching to have the academic, creative, crazy part of CIVIS being able to exchange about this yeah, the things you have learned. And there is a motto in German, wer schreibt, der bleibt. Someone, if you want to stay, you have to write. And even if learning and teaching is not so much about writing in the first place, I think it would be a very interesting gift to the rest of the university community if you were able to write in a manner we understand that in university, in a scientific manner, about the experience you have made. I was very moved by your testimonial, Clara. I was fighting with the tears, I must say, because it was just, it's so thankful, because we know why we work. When you listen to you, we know why it has to be done. So maybe you will find a way of bring your different experiences to paper. Digital one will be okay, and to have this given back to the community where you come from, because it's a way of sharing your knowledge. And the second aspect I would like to address is about alumni. Of course, alumni is the community in the future, and of course, students are creative and engaging and very active personalities, but maybe it could be, maybe you have already thought about it, I'm completely off the record, but it would be helpful maybe to create a kind of a structure or to help this community to remain sustainable in the future. Of course, you can organize yourself, but it may be helpful not to reinvent the wheels every project, but to have a kind of a platform. But maybe I'm already saying something you have already discovered. I was impressed by your summary by saying that during trying to do joint things in education is much more complex than in research when we are used to international collaboration. It is not new, but it is something I take like a challenge. How can we do the world a little bit easier for the colleagues trying to do the same in their fields, in other contexts? And CIVIS is, according to what I say and what I know, is on the verge, on the very front of what is done in this context. And I think the key of this answer to how could we lower the complexity is in having this tandem of academic and administrative work better. I belong to the academic side, and I had to move to the administrative one for some years, and then I came back. I'm a translator from my background, and I translate all the time between these parts, the two hemispheres, but you need the two hemispheres if you want to. I come from Magdeburg, we have Otto von Guericke, and we always, it may be a key lesson to have these separate worlds in the academia working better together by understanding better each other language. You speak English, all of you, but you have different references in mind when you speak with creating innovative things and thinking about, oh, how can I put it on the road? Yeah? And both have to be done, and there is no one more important than the other. That's like the fingers of one hand. You need at least two if you want to grasp something. And it could be interesting if you were able to write about this kind of innovative experience inside of the institution, because these two worlds normally do not speak so well together and about each other. And the last remark concerns the segregation. You say this hard word about these two English and French-speaking universes. I didn't know so many people, and I could have a kind of a sociologist analyst, and I could see this segregation being here too. I was seeing the African colleagues sitting in one part of the room and eating, and I have no idea how you can really make it better, but maybe AI could help a little bit. I've seen fantastic translation, automatic translation of conferences and even discussions with AI. I'm saying that, and I'm a translator myself. I mean, I'm destroying my profession, but okay, we have to work with these fantastic tools. And by addressing the challenge, I think you are already on the good way, just to make it clear that we have to work on this. And this is visible, and it may be a reason why it works or not for some projects. Yeah, I'm done. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you so much. As I said, I'll ask your kind acceptance to prolong a bit with 5 more minutes the session. And thank you to everyone. Thank you so much for the feedback. I would like to see whether you have any questions for any of our speakers. Yes, we do have one. I'll jump right over there. Please keep this microphone.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you. I was wondering, it's clear that the TRACEE program emerged from Hub 1. Can you tell me about the connection to the hubs from the other 2 programs?
So POLYCIVIS is not connected to any hub. I think the idea was really, to create this network. Christian Möllmann played an important role in facilitating the cooperation. But other than that, we are not connected to any hub. We have parts from all hubs, basically. Yeah.
So we are from under the hub of health, because we are 3 major partners from Faculty of Pharmacy from NKUA, Faculty of Environmental Bioscience,
Faculty of Sciences
from Sapienza, and from the University of Bucharest, we are from Faculty of Chemistry. So drug discovery from natural products.
Thank you very much. Any other questions from the room, from the audience? Yes, Sebastian.
Thank you. Yeah, I would have some follow-up questions for you on this NUT for DD program. So one would be whether you intend to run it as a self-funded master program, or whether you also apply for external funding. And the other is what will be the exact role of the African partners? Will it be like fully diploma awarding partners, or is it another role, like more work placement, something like that?
Regarding the financial part, we recently received an amount of 700 euro from the from Greek ministry. And once we start, we have in mind to apply for the European Erasmus Mundus, sorry. So, but we can do this kind of step once we receive the accreditation. Now we are in the moment where we have to obtain this accreditation at a European level. So after this accreditation, we can start and we can apply for Erasmus Mundus. Regarding the role of African partners, they will be involved to deliver a lecture inside, because we would like to give the students also experience about traditional medicines. And for us, the traditional medicines in Africa is very important. But the diploma will be how can I say?
Issued.
It's just issue, yes, sorry, by Greek University, Sapienza, and Bucharest. So.
Thank you very much. Before concluding, I'd kindly invite each of the speakers to leave us a very short final message, forward-looking thought or a lesson to share to Alliance, to academics, to colleagues, to institutions. How do you want to conclude? What's your last short message, each of you?
My last short message is, if you want to start with a big project, please contact in advance the offices. Because it's the best way. I think we spent 3 years, I think. Sometimes we are near to be crazy. So I think that in advance you should start by contacting the offices.
And I have to say that taking contact with the administrative part, to prepare a master program, it is not impossible mission. So you have to fight, first of all, you have to fight with you, with your time, with your trust, and then you will succeed.
Maybe I could say that no one should ever stop learning, and no one should be afraid to step into the unknown. And even when we do, we have to do so cautiously and carefully and be prepared for anything that may come. But nonetheless, we still have to take that first step.
Well, just 4 words. Stay courageous, stay friends.
So maybe one thing which would be very good, I think the CIVIS circles, at least at our university in Salzburg, is still a small circle. So it's very important to reach out to more parts of our universities to make the community bigger.
Yes, and I think a lot of wise things has been said here, but what I would actually like to recommend to anyone taking on this type of adventure is to really pinpoint the importance of setting up a government structure, and the earlier you do it, the easier it will be. And for the case of TRACEE, I mean, we set up a governance structure for the program, which was first called the interim board when we were in the development phase, and has now transitioned into a program board where we have representatives from academia and from the administration, from each of the full partners, and that really helped us move fast forward. And it also created trust, as you were talking so beautifully about. So it was like creating trust between academics and administrators by them getting to know each other.
So I got the feeling that my message already arrived in the room. And yeah, I just want to say once more, make space for fun and friendship and the good stuff.
The TRACEE emerged because of a bunch of academics becoming a community together. CIVIS made that possible, and I ask CIVIS as we move forward to carry on creating those spaces for academic networking so that the 3 projects you've just heard about are not the only ones that this European African University delivers. And for all of you who enjoyed hearing about TRACEE, TRACEE's on stage, and that's the students themselves, and that's 1 o'clock today. So come and listen to the students themselves telling us all about what they are doing in and beyond TRACEE.
Thank you very much, and thank you to everyone, both on-site and online, for listening to us. CIVIS indeed will continue. We hope to do everything for wonderful ideas to emerge, to continue to develop, but also to sustain everything that we have already built, and this is very important. Thank you again. I think a big round of applause for our speakers is well deserved.